So, I always thought of Anker as that company who made all those chargers and cables that everybody bought once the one that came with your iPhone or your Android phone broke. Turns out they do a lot more, which I've been introduced to in very much the same way as the deep end of the swimming pool when my childhood swimming teacher Keith threw me in it. And that is by getting a lot of stuff to review. That includes the Anker PowerConf C300 webcam, which I've reviewed for Laptop Mag. I'll pop the link in the description for that. The PowerXpand 5-in-1 Thunderbolt 4 dock, more on that in a future video. All the way to over-ear headphones, including these, the Soundcore Life Q35s. They do double duty as a top of the line entry above their previous Q30s. I'll leave a link to Techspert's excellent review of those in the description. And at £129, they are the most expensive headphones that Anker have made. But are they worth that investment? Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to New Rising Media, your home of hands-on reviews and gloves off opinions about tech and gaming. I'm Jason England, all-round nerd journalist, and I thank you right there for taking the time out of your busy day to check out this video. Cheers. Right, the Soundcore by Anker Life Q35s. An over-ear alternative to the true wireless earbuds that I've gone into reviewing on this channel, such as the Mastering Dynamic MW08s and the Skull Candy Dimes. You can watch those both by clicking the eye above my head, but I'm distracting myself by trying to get all the self-promo in, so how's about we just get these out the box. Slow reveal boxes that slowly opens, and inside we have the carry case for it, a whole bunch of paperwork, so I can only assume that this is all your quick start guide and safety information. Yes, it is. Plush fabric case. And here they are. In here, you've got your 3.5mm to 3.5mm jack and the USB-A to USB-C cable for charging. Oh, and one thing I completely forgot to highlight from in the box, airplane connector to be able to listen to everything while you're traveling. Clear all this out and let's focus on the headphones as I take you through some tech specs. And trust me when I say, on paper, it's pretty impressive. 40mm custom silk diaphragm drivers, high-res and high-res wireless certification, alongside LDAC technology for lossless sound. The latter two of which are new in the Q35s compared to the previous models. All of this is combined with what they call targeted noise cancellation, which is essentially different modes of ANC for different places, so indoor, outdoor, and transport, which use two microphones on each cup and some built-in AI to try and reduce those sound levels. As for the day-to-day usability of these cans, you can connect them by tapping your Android phone on the side via NFC, which is really clever, and you can pair two different devices to these at the same time. Beamforming mics on each can and an AI algorithm supposedly enhances your voice on these. You can personalize the audio experience with the Anker app, and probably most impressively, a 40-hour battery life. And that's with the noise cancelling on. Turn it off and you get 60. Initial impressions are nice plush cushions over the ears, good for isolating the noise around you. That's probably why I'm talking a little bit louder. Apologies for that. So all in all, a mighty good spec list, with the new additions over other Soundcore Life Q headphones being high-res wireless certification, the LDAC, AI enhanced calling, smart wearing detection. But as I always do, I'll save my full opinions until I've put these through their paces and really put them to the test. So I will check back in with you in about a week's time. Right, now that I've had a week to test these, 2 days of which was just listening to solid chill hop in bed while I was going through some of the side effects of having my first COVID jab. When you were asked to go and get a vaccine, I just want to hug my mates again. It also gave me the chance to see some of the marketing materials for this, and they're really bigging these up as flagship killers, comparing themselves to the Bose 700s, which got my attention, I'll be honest with you. So let's answer the question, are they that good? And another question that a lot of people are asking, and is more relevant to the Soundcore lineup, the Q35s, as we said at the top, bring 4 improvements over. Are those 4 improvements worth the extra 50 quid to get these compared to the Q30s? Q30s. So stick around for a few minutes while I give you an in-depth review of these, and I'll start with the hardware. To help with this, I'll tell you a bit about my daily drivers, the Skull Candy Crusher Evos. And much like a lot of pairs of wireless over-ear headphones, they're comfortable, but in moderation, because before too long, the clamping force of this headband on your head just gets a little bit too much, and you're either trying to fiddle it about or you're taking a break from it entirely. And I know why they do that. It's primarily for noise isolation, which makes for a bit of a catch-22 and a bit of a sliding scale where you think the more you isolate sound, the tighter the clamp and the more uncomfortable it is. Whereas the more comfortable you make them, the less noise isolation you'll get. The Soundcore Life Q35s are luckily somewhere in the middle. The clamping force of the headband is not that strong. It doesn't feel like the Great Khali grabbing your head. So they're fine for long periods of time. The ear cushions are nice and padded. The headband cushion is nice and plush. It's all around a pretty good experience, bar a couple of things. Because with that generally looser headband can cause a bit of downward pressure as the cushion edge pushes down on the top of your ear a little bit. It's nothing that a quick 5-second rearrange of moving things around can't fix, but it's just something to know. And of course, another key bit with the hardware is the buttons and the interactions with it. Touch surfaces are limited to turning noise cancellation on and off by pushing on the sides of the cups, and everything else is done by buttons, which to me is great. Because as I say in a lot of my videos, no company has really gotten touch surfaces right on their earbuds or their headphones. So the more that companies admit that and use buttons, the better. As for other quality of life features afforded by the components here, you've got Bluetooth 5 and the ability to connect to 2 different devices, which is a godsend. It has been an awesome breath of fresh air for me to be able to hot switch between listening to a podcast on my phone and then when I'm video editing, be able to just quickly tap the button and switch over to this. And of course, what about the battery life? Well, Anker promises 40 hours with noise cancellation on, and I comfortably hit that. Plus the charging promises have been kept. I gave these 5 minutes of juice and I was able to use them for another 3 hours and 40 minutes. So give or take 20 minutes, you've hit that 4 hours from a 5-minute charge mark. They also come with 80% charge out the box, so you're not going to be giving these a charge for quite a while after you buy them. I just love it when companies do that. And now, for the interesting part, how do they sound? Because if you take everything that's on paper here, they should sound amazing and they should be a gigantic step up from the Q30s. Because while they do preserve the 40mm drivers from the previous generation, these also come with high-res wireless audio certification and the LDAC codec for lossless audio quality over Bluetooth, meaning that everything should have a much higher fidelity as it's being pumped into your ears. But all of those specs are exactly that. Specs. They tell half the story when it comes to headphones and earbuds because it's also about the tuning. Anker have always preferred to go a little bass heavy, but now they've got all of these tools in their toolbox. Can they make for a big step up? Because it's something that my dad would always say. It's not about what you use, it's about how you use it that matters. So with all those bells and whistles, do they sound any good? Yeah, they're pretty damn good. And they are a bit of an improvement over the Q30s. That Soundcore signature sound is deep, and that bass still sometimes can overwhelm the highs and the mids, but there's been a couple of tiny tweaks in the tuning from what I can hear, and also LDAC really comes into its own and makes those other bits in the composition stand out a bit more. And the noise cancellation hiss is practically non-existent, no matter how intense the mode is that you put on. So for audiophiles, or for people who want to hear every single instrument in the orchestral uprising in the Beatles' A Day in Life, they sound great on these. But for day-to-day listening, are these significantly better than the Q30s? No, not particularly. And that's not to say they sound bad. I've just spent the last minute or two talking about how they sound good. And also, major props for having a fully customizable EQ for these on the app. But for most songs that people listen to, we're talking hip hop, we're talking metal, R&B, much simpler compositions that do well with a bit of a bass boost, then you'd be forgiven in some situations in thinking that these practically sound the same as the Q30s. So if you're an audio pro, the LDAC is worth it. If not, save yourself the cash. Speaking of the customizable EQ on the app, what's the software support like on these? And you're going to hear me talk about this as well with the Liberty Air 2 Pro's review. It's coming soon at the time of this video coming out, and when it has come out, it will appear magically over here in the eye above my head. But the app is really good. Updating the Q35's firmware when I first got them was an absolute doddle. The app does ask for permission to show notifications, which is a little strange. Like, why does a headphones app need to notify me of stuff? But beyond that, there's really nice UI switches for noise cancellation, including some switches that you can actually add as a widget on your home screen. That makes it really quick to get to. And my surprise favorite feature of the app for these is the white noise generator. It's called Supreme Sound. You can create yourself a nice little crackling fire ambiance while you're going to sleep. It proper helped me when I was feeling under the weather after getting the vaccine. And last but not least, call quality, because at the end of the day, over-ear headphones may be more sound quality centric, but they're still a wireless hands-free product, so they've got to be good at calls. And this is the bit where the Q30s fell down a little bit in picking up the sounds around you, sometimes at the expense of your own voice. Well, whatever this AI enhanced calling is that Anker has been working on, it's worked. Because obviously it comes as no surprise that indoor calls are fine. You do come through a little bit compressed, but you come through crystal clear, which is the most important thing. Now for outdoor calls, the beamforming microphones and all of the noise cancellation business happening in the cups seems to do a pretty good job of managing to single out your voice and bring it to the forefront. And as anybody from Nottingham will know, it gets a bit windy around here, especially around the River Trent. So when under some more gale force tests, yeah, you do get drowned out a little bit. Or during rush hour traffic, yeah, it's hard for people to hear you. But for the vast majority of the time, you're not going to have a problem with these. And that, compared to other options that I've tested, is a pretty good achievement. Now, when you add all this up, what have you got here? You've got something pretty damn nice here, but the question is, are they worth that extra 50 quid? I mean, they look good, they sound great, they feel great, and have an awesome battery life. But those are all qualities that the Q30 had as well. So it makes this question a little bit more difficult to answer. So I'm gonna carry on concluding these, and hopefully I'm gonna come to an answer by the end of this. Obviously, alongside all those good bits about this, it comes with those three missing elements that I found myself being more thankful for than I first thought I would be, which is the AI enhanced calling, smart wearing detection, and the lossless audio codec within these. That's not to say they're perfect. The pairing, while simple, absolutely sucks that there wasn't any NFC pairing on iOS devices, but that's more of a problem with Apple than it is with Anker. The sound profile of these still tends to favor the bass, sometimes to a fault of the rest of the composition, and the weight of them paired with the looseness of the clamp can sometimes push down on your ears just a tad. But in the frame of comparing them to the Bose 700s and the Sony WH-100XM4s, it's hard to criticize them at that point given just what you get here. It's really good value for money. It's £200–300 worth of headphones for 130 quid. But you see, this value for money message has already been written by the Soundcore Life Q30s, and when you compare these to that, that's where the question of recommending these gets a little bit murkier. Because sure, as I talked about, on-ear detection, the LDAC lossless codec, and the AI enhanced calling, all nice to have features, but are they worth the extra 50 bob? And the answers are, for most of you, probably not. For the high-res audiophile community, absolutely. That LDAC makes those more complex compositions shine, and it gives everything that extra level of fidelity that you need to really make the most of the sound stage around you. But to the everyday people like you and me here, who just want something that makes their songs sound good while walking, the Q30s do a good enough job of that it's not necessarily worth spending the extra 50 quid on these. But that's not to say that they sound bad at all, and that you shouldn't buy them. Tell you what, let me put it this way. If you need headphones right now, and they have to be Anker Soundcore headphones, get the Q30s. But if you and I know anything about Anker, it's that they will be discounted pretty quickly. So wait for Amazon Prime Day, and I'm pretty confident that you will see these for £100–110, just chopping that 20–30 quid off the top. At that point, get them, because they are great headphones, and if you do buy them, you will not be disappointed. Right, that is gonna do it. What do you think? Are you interested in buying the Soundcore Life Q35s? Maybe you're getting them for traveling across the world once all of this shit is over, because my God, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. But yeah, pop your thoughts in the comments and let's chat. And as always, likes if you enjoyed the video, subs if you loved it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.